Welcome to this video. My name is Focus, and in this video I'm gonna explain to you how you can reprogram your mind. I'm sure if you watch this video you have seen a few of my street hypnosis videos where I go out into the world and hypnotize people and make myself invisible and make myself be people's favorite celebrity. And you might ask yourself, how is that possible? And in this video I'm gonna explain how the mechanism works, how you can program your own mind, how you can program other people's minds, how you can understand how actually reality works. So you better take out a piece of paper and write down some notes, or you take out your iPad with your pen and write down some notes there, or you simply take your Notion application or another notes app, because this is valuable information, and this valuable information is about to change your life in a positive direction. Because once you understand the fundamental principles about how your mind works, you're gonna behave differently, you're gonna think differently, and the results that your life will show to you are gonna be very different than you have seen before. So relax yourself, sit down, enjoy a cup of coffee like I do, and simply listen to the information that I'm about to present you. So let's get back to a little recap. We have done some hypnosis on the street all over the world. We've hypnotized people, and while I'm doing it, people are in shock. They can't understand it. Even me, sometimes I'm in shock. I'm like, this is actually possible, right? But how does that actually work? Guys, if you have questions, for everything there's an answer. So when we go into neuroscience, there's a lot of terms that explains these mechanisms that is happening in hypnosis on the street. But on the street, guys, the reason I'm doing this is to show what's possible. Because if that's possible, just imagine what else is possible by reprogramming the mind. Because I'm not an entertainer. I'm not here to entertain people or to do hypnosis shows. I hypnotize people to achieve success, to achieve greatness, to become a version of themselves that they haven't seen before. Doesn't matter what type of profession you're in. You might be a founder, you might be an entrepreneur that is struggling with procrastination, with self-sabotage. You might be a professional athlete that is fighting in the UFC or that is fighting in the World Cup. It doesn't matter. Whatever profession you have, everything comes down to your mind. And everyone that is operating at a high level knows that. They know they have days where they're not operating like this, but they have days where they're operating like this. And essentially you want to be operating at 100% all the time. Same like me. I programmed my mind to be able to speak that fluently, to be able to communicate well, to be able to present my ideas without saying or I don't have any notes, guys. I just simply speak from my mind. You see my laptop, but this is simply for aesthetic purposes. You understand? So the information is just flowing through me, because I built neural pathways in my brain that allow me to do that. So let's get back to the mechanism. The mechanism is simple. For example, I do crazy stuff, right? I become invisible. How is that possible that a person can become invisible? It is possible because there's something that's called the Reticular Activating System in your mind. Everyone has that, and it is usually responsible for focus and expectation. So if I become invisible and someone is not able to see me, is because the reticular activation system, the filter, is programmed to not perceive me anymore. So I'm there, of course I'm there, you see me, right? But his brain is filtering me out. And by filtering me out, I become invisible and he can't see me anymore. Because I'm explaining these mechanisms in order to translate that over to your life and how you can use that into your advantage. Because that filter filters things out, but it also focuses on things. For example, if I become someone's favorite celebrity, you create expectation and focus, and your brain starts rewiring itself and actually perceiving another person instead of you, their favorite celebrity. I've become Cristiano Ronaldo. I've seen people become Kim Kardashian. I've become Lionel Messi. You know what I mean? It's possible because your brain starts to perceive it that way. So if that's possible, what else is possible? And then you go back into the reticular activation system, because it's the same when you program the mind to look out for opportunities, to take another identity, to think like another person, to think like a rich person, to think like a successful person, to think like a dedicated person focused on his craft. And when you program the reticular activation system, your brain starts naturally looking for these things. It's the same when you buy a new car. Once you buy a new car, you all of a sudden you see the same car everywhere. There was not more of the same car around you, it's the same number of cars. But now your brain pays attention to that car. And the same principle applies to business, applies to sports, applies to your job. If your brain is wired to look for opportunities, then it will naturally look for solutions, and then you act up on these solutions, and then you will see another one, and then all of a sudden you're far more ahead than before. And that's how your brain works. Because either your brain is programmed for success and for achieving results, or it's for the opposite, for procrastination and delaying the results, and looking for excuses instead of making things happen. And you have to be reflective and understand and be honest with yourself, because once you're honest with yourself and you're able to observe your own mind, observe your own thoughts, you can actually see the pattern where you started making excuses unconsciously without knowing it, and saying, yeah, that didn't work because this and this and that, and that's actually fine because this and this and that, and all of a sudden you see yourself in a loop, and 3 years later you haven't done shit. So there's also another version of you that would have thought, okay, this didn't work, but how can we make that work, but that work, and then because of that, that works, and then you see another pattern, and then when you look far ahead in the future, then you see actually that you could, once you went that path, that you made everything happen by simply rewiring your brain to look for the solutions. And these are a few examples, right? How the mechanism works, how you can rewire the reticular activation system. But in the end, everything comes down to your own mind, the way you speak to yourself, the way you think about things, the way your outcome of life is. Because you should always have a positive outcome, regardless what happens in your life, good or bad. You can experience the most dramatic thing and the most hard thing in your life, but there's two paths and two perspectives to look on the same thing. And if you always keep a positive outcome, and if you always keep a positive perspective on things and understand that everything in life happens to you, because it is meant to make you grow and develop, then you will have a different outcome of life. You will have different results of the same scenario. The worst thing in your life that happened to you could also be the best thing that happened to you, just by simply changing the perspective. And I know it's not easy, of course, especially when you're in that situation. But this is a reminder to you that there's another option that you can take. And simply by rewiring your mind, by hypnotizing yourself, by talking to yourself differently, you can have a different outcome of life. You can do different things. You can be around more positive people, more ambitious people. Because once you start thinking that way, your life is going to change differently. You're going to be around different people in different environments doing different things, having a more impact on life and not being reactive anymore. You're being proactive and you're actually designing your own life. And people talk about manifestation, people talk about visualization. Skip all the bullshit. This is the real deal. Like, you go into the mind and you rewire it for whatever you want, and then you simply go along that path. And the only thing you have to do, and it's very simple, is to remind yourself that you are that guy. Because once you reinforce a new identity, I have done that many times in my life. I come from a computer science background, I come from a martial arts background, and now I'm a hypnotist. So you can rewire your identity and become a completely new person. And this is my stage of life. And I'm here to teach you what I have learned. because this is very valuable information and this changed my own life. And you can see my life as the result. People from back then, they don't recognize me. I don't want to say it and I don't want to sound arrogant, right? But we have to look at the objective truth, how I've outgrown everyone around me for years. And then I've met new people, outgrown them. And you can be that guy. It's not that difficult. And if you look at most people around you, they're actually not that high level. And then once you achieve another level and another level, you will be around people who are on that other level. And then your environment reinforces that identity. And then you just get to the next level, get to the next level. And this is what life essentially is about. To level up and to develop and not to stagnate on a certain level, on a certain ceiling, on a certain income level, on a certain level of life that actually doesn't fulfill you. You have that feeling in your gut, in your mind, that you know you should achieve more, aim for more, but then you distract yourself with simple pleasures, with distractions that doesn't serve your life. And you know there's another version of you. And I don't want to make this video too long. I wanted to give you a quick update. And if you have watched that far, I'm sure you're into the mind, you understand about the mind, or you want to learn more about the mind. And if you have watched more of my videos, I'm building a little community right now. I see some people comment on my videos more often. And I also want to say thank you that you're there. I see it and I receive your messages and I'm very thankful for it and I like it. And I'm happy that I have a good and positive impact on you guys. And as we are building the community, as we are building the channel, my socials, we will be more and more people that know about these things and that share also these things. Because life is about learning and teaching. You learn something, you teach it to others. You don't care what other people think. You know what you do and you are working from your heart, being authentic. I don't care what anyone thinks, guys. I'm hypnotized myself. Understand it. Once you're on that level, right, you operate differently. The problems most people have are not your type of problems anymore. You have bigger ambitions, bigger goals. You reduce the noise around you. You understand? And once you reduce the noise and you see the path, you just simply walk that path and life becomes effortlessly. You can build your business without forcing things, without needing to use willpower. Everything can become effortless. And this is what I'm here to teach and explain. And if you want to get more into this and want to work with me one-to-one, the link is in the description. Fill out the application form. But I also want to make very clear that working with me one-to-one is not for everyone. I'm very selective with my time. I'm very selective with the people I work with. And I make sure that all my clients achieve their desired results, achieve their desired reality, achieve their best version of their self. So thank you guys for watching and have a great day.